And our responsibility now is to do all we can to ensure this does not happen again. That is the solemn responsibility that this government and this parliament has. And that is what we are seeking to do, to listen to the Jewish community, the entire nation.
Senator Wong, please resume your seat. Senator Cash.
It is a point of order on relevance. It was direct in terms of will the Prime Minister actually, for the first time since October the 7th, 2023, apologise to Jewish Australians for your government's disgraceful
Senator
failings?
Cash, calling a point of order is not an opportunity to make a statement. The Minister is being directly relevant to your question. Minister Wong, did you wish to continue?
I addressed your question directly, Senator Cash, and I did so because I think it is important. But I also believe, and I think Australians believe, that it is important for us to not just speak about, but to act to ensure this does not happen again. And that is why this government prioritised the drafting.
Thank you, Minister. The time for answering has expired. Senator Cash, first supplementary.
Sabina Kleitman, daughter of Alex Kleitman, said this: "Our government could not protect the 15 innocent souls who were taken from us and those that were injured. It's their duty to all Australians to provide safety and security for all." And Jenny Reuter, whose uncle was murdered, said this: "We were hunted like animals by extremists." Can the Prime Minister say the one word the Jewish community have been wanting to hear? Sorry for failing to keep you safe.
Thank you, Senator Cash. Minister Wong.
The Prime Minister has responded to that publicly, and the Prime Minister has also done what a leader of integrity does, which is he has engaged, he has listened, he has heard and experience with respect the pain, the grief and the anger. And he has determined to act to ensure that we do all we can to prevent any such attack occurring again, and that we confront anti-Semitism in all its forms. Anti-Semitism, you would have heard me say in this place many times, Senator, it is an attack on Jewish Australians, but it is an attack on Australia. It is on who we are.
Thank you, Minister. The time for answering has expired. Senator Cash, second supplementary.
I've listened carefully to both answers, and despite your words, Senator Wong, you have yet again failed to say sorry to the Jewish community on behalf of the Prime Minister. So I ask again, it is a simple word. Will the Prime Minister say sorry? Sorry for your government's actions, that it failed to address the anti-Semitic crisis in Australia, despite repeated warnings from the Jewish community since October the 7th, 2023.
Thank you, Senator Cash. Minister Wong.
I have done so twice. I have responded twice directly to that, Senator. This is a moment where we have a choice as a country about uniting in our response to anti-Semitism, uniting in our response to hatred, uniting the country against prejudice, hatred, anti-Semitism, and uniting the country around this legislation, which is intended to contribute to keeping people safer. I think it is a matter of some regret that a moment that could have been a moment of national unity has not been so.
Is it October the 9th,
because
Senator Cash
has not been so, because some in this place, I'll take the interjection, yes I did, and I responded.
Thank you, Minister. The time for responding has expired.
Penny Wong thought this was going to be another controlled parliamentary exchange. A familiar question, a prepared answer, and then move on like nothing happened. But what she didn't expect was Michaelia Cash coming in with a completely different energy. Because this wasn't just about policy anymore. This was about one word, one apology, one moment of accountability that was being demanded again and again. And from the very beginning, Cash made it clear she was not going to let this go. She wasn't asking complicated questions. She wasn't getting lost in political language. She was asking something extremely simple. Will the Prime Minister say sorry? And that's where the entire exchange starts to shift. Instead of a direct yes or no, Penny Wong immediately moves into explanation mode. She talks about responsibility, unity, listening to the Jewish community, and acting to prevent future harm. On the surface, it sounds like a standard government response, but the problem is it never actually answers the question. And that becomes the central tension of the entire exchange. Because when a question is this direct, and the answer keeps moving around it, people start noticing what is not being said. Michaelia Cash doesn't let that moment pass. She pushes again. She brings in emotional testimony, real victims, real families, real pain. Stories of people who lost loved ones, people who were injured, people who feel unsafe and abandoned. And suddenly this is no longer just a political disagreement. It becomes something much heavier, something personal, something emotional. Because now the question is not just about whether there should be an apology, it becomes about whether the government is willing to acknowledge responsibility at all. And yet again, the word sorry is missing. Penny Wong continues to respond, but her language stays the same. We have responded, we are acting, we are committed to safety, we are listening. But she still does not cross that final line. And that's what makes this exchange so intense. Because in politics, sometimes it's not what is said, it's what is repeatedly avoided. Cash keeps pressing the same point again and again, not changing the question, not moving away from it, just forcing it back into focus. And that repetition becomes powerful on its own because it exposes the pressure building inside the chamber. If the answer was simple, it would already have been given. Instead, every response circles around it. As the exchange continues, the tension builds even further, because now it is not just about a word. It is about accountability. It is about political responsibility. It is about whether leadership means owning outcomes or just describing them. Penny Wong emphasizes unity, saying this is a moment where the country should come together against hate and anti-Semitism. But Michaelia Cash keeps dragging it back to the core issue, a refusal to say sorry. And that contrast defines the entire moment. One side speaking about national unity and action, the other side demanding a direct acknowledgement of failure. And neither side is backing down. Eventually, the response time runs out, but even at the end, the core question remains hanging in the air. And that is what makes this exchange so politically powerful. Because in parliamentary debates like this, people don't always remember every argument. They remember moments, they remember pressure, they remember silence. They remember when a simple question didn't get a simple answer. Cash pushed for accountability. Wong defended the government position. But the word sorry never fully lands in the way the opposition wanted. And that absence becomes the most important part of the entire exchange, because sometimes in politics, what is not said speaks louder than everything else combined.